Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to the shed. How are you today? I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. Please let me know in the comments down below. We are in the midst of Snowpocalypse 2017. It's coming. Oh my gosh. The storm has been racing across the West Coast. It has dumped tons of snow and it's getting ready to hit West Virginia. Like maybe tonight. So what do? We close school early. I was at a work this morning. I work for the schools, and I was in a school, and at like 9 a.m. they announced they were going to let school out early because the snow's coming, and oh my gosh. And it's like we have forecasted a couple of inches of snow, which I guess if you're not from the mountains, that seems like a significant amount of snow. But here, that's like we can barely go sled riding, right? It's not very much snow, and so. I live in a. I have the disadvantage of, I guess, I love where I live, don't get me wrong, but I have the disadvantage of living in a mountainous, temperate climate, which means that I get the beautiful winding roads that are up and down steep hills, but I also get ice and snow, and those two things, they don't go together well. And if you are somebody who's prone to road rage, never move to a place like this because people just completely forget how cars work when it starts to snow. Driving home today, there's some flurries. It's snowing, but it's barely snowing. There's some flurries, and people are going like stopping at each turn, and it's like the road isn't even wet yet. It hasn't been warm enough here for. Or it hasn't been cold enough here for the roads to freeze yet, so the snow's not even sticking to the roads. It's melting off. So the road is like dry, cinder covered, because they've already salted and cindered in preparation for the storm, and people are just like creeping around turns, and God, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. And the worst part is where I live, there's in FAIRMONT, we have an interstate that runs essentially like right through my little town. And this is a tiny town, less than 20,000 people. We have like 4 interstate exits or whatever. And the town is here and the business is like 4 miles or 5 miles away. And there's an interstate, but there's also a 2-lane road that connects that's extremely popular. And over the rains, over Christmas, the hillside, that road follows a river. And it was cut into the side of a bank, and over Christmas, all of the rocks from that hillside just slid bad. Like it's happened before, but it's usually like a couple boulders. This is like a mudslide, landslide covering the road, and it shut down. Well, that is the more popular way of traveling between downtown FAIRMONT and the business area, the mall area, we'll call it. And so people have not adjusted to this fact yet, and the road is closed completely because they're trying to clean this up. And instead of taking the interstate and going around, because it is a little bit out of the way, the interstate exit downtown is like a mile from downtown. So you kind of have to go out of your way to get on the interstate to get to the south exit. So it's easier to just come up 250, which is the road that's blocked. Well, it goes like this, and my house is back here. So there's this back road that goes, and it's beautiful. Like, I freaking love that back road. One of my favorite roads in the universe to ride my motorcycle on. I get to ride it every day home because it's got just wonderful ups and downs and twisties and cow fields and stuff. It's beautiful. Except for when it's about to snow, the main road is shut down because of a rock slide, and 55 people are now taking this tiny little country back road to get to where they're going instead of going to the interstate. And now I have to deal with idiots who slam on their brakes at every turn, which is like if you don't know anything about driving in ice and snow, number one rule, do not ever use the brake until you are at a complete stop. Brakes are bad when you're sliding. Extremely bad. You would be much better off just gunning the gas pedal and smashing into something than using your brakes. No, not really, but don't use your brakes. And people just seem to forget that, and it's a nightmare. But so anyway, so Snowpocalypse, snowtastrophe is coming. It could happen. The way the weather pattern looks, I live in the northern part of West Virginia. It looks like the southern part. It's coming, well, in your view, it would be coming from the like Minnesota area. It's going to kind of do this kind of thing around the bottom of the Appalachian Mountains and then come back up the coast. And that's pretty typical here. Where I live, I'm kind of lucky that I'm sheltered. I've got the Appalachians over here, which keep the Gulf, or not the Gulf, but the Atlantic Ocean away, and I don't get hurricanes or anything like that. And then the storms like to kind of do this. Instead of coming straight at the mountains, they like to go around the mountains, and I'm just nestled in there, and it works. But it looks like it's going to go mostly to the south of my state. We will probably get snow, and maybe 3 inches or so. And that's probably, because this is the first major snow this year, it's probably enough that they'll cancel school. I get it, but it's not a disaster. And so the thing I don't understand though is, and right now, it's starting to snow. People are getting out of work, and now is like the mad dash to the grocery store to get the bread and milk. And I don't know if we've talked about this last winter on the show, but what the hell is with bread and milk? Like, I don't understand why people will go. There's like, you're going to be stuck in your house for a few days. Get 4 gallons of milk and 10 loaves of bread. Like, you're going to get the 2 least nutritious foods in the whole store that can't sustain you through anything. One of them is can't survive without a refrigerator 24/7. So if the power goes out, what the hell are you going to do with it? I guess you could put it outside for it to freeze. I'm not sure what is with bread and frickin' milk? Like, the 2 things that I would avoid, like, get potatoes and meat, get food that can actually sustain me. When I think of survival as a former Marine, as a search and rescue wilderness search and rescue member, as a man tracker, as somebody who's done backpacking, I always think of maximum nutrition in the smallest package. Instead, that you're going to go buy something that has extremely low nutritional value in this large volume. So I'm going to go buy a thing this big that provides me very little nutritional value. In my mind, I'm going to go get staples. I'm going to get maybe even water, because if the water goes out, then I am screwed. Water, I'm going to get rices and beans and leeks and legumes and potatoes and meat and protein. Yeah, like, I'm not going to go get bread and frickin' milk. I would love to know what the reason is. Why the hell people go out of their way to run to the store to buy bread and milk. And you usually find the people, they get the bread, the milk, and here, very large Italian population, the spaghetti. So the noodles. I can understand the noodles. At least that's a lot of calories in a small package that's easy to fix. Even if the power goes out, you can just boil it. So I understand that. But bread and milk, what? I would love to know. And I Googled it before coming down to do this episode. I read a little bit about it, and it talked about it coming from like a tradition of the Depression and people trying to stockpile foods. That still doesn't make sense to me, because it's still 2 terribly inefficient foods to go stockpile. You would be better off stockpiling bags of sugar, because they provide more sustenance than bread and milk. Water is the thing that people just seem to forget. Like, keep gallons of water in your house at all times. Fill the bathtub. I've heard of people doing that, filling the bathtub. That works. But anyway, so maybe that's just a here thing. Maybe that's a West Virginia thing. Please let me know. I have heard of this existing pretty much universally, bread and milk. And maybe even in climates unlike mine, like in a hurricane, go get the bread and milk. I don't know what you're going to do with bread and milk in a hurricane, because it's usually over pretty quick. And if it's over and you got hit, chances are you're going to be without power and anything. You're not just going to stay in a torn up shack eating bread and milk for a week. So what the hell is the point of it? Please let me know. Please let me know if this is a phenomenon that occurs in your area, or maybe in your area it's rice and apple juice or something. Maybe it's a completely different staple commodity that people rush to grab. Maybe this is just a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant thing from the northern part of the United States. I don't know. I have no clue. But I would love to know if you have thoughts about the matter, if you have experiences with stockpiling during a storm, and what kind of stuff disappears from the shelves in your area. There's a comment section right below this video. You should go down there And you should, first of all, tell me how your day is, because I'm genuinely interested in the well-being of you and yours. I do like hearing about your day. And tell me a little bit about how you are preparing for this storm if you're in the storm's path. And if you're not in this particular storm's path, how you prepare for storms in your region's path. I'd love to know. Comments. Thank you. Also, tomorrow, Friend Friday. Haven't done that in a while. I want to introduce some of you. Please, please, please send me some stuff to share tomorrow. I introduce myself to you every single day. Tell the rest of the Shed family a little bit about yourself. You can call in. The phone number here is 304-602-SHED. Leave me a voicemail. Introduce yourself to the family. That's 304-602-7433. You can email me, Chevee@thedailyshed.com. Tell me a little bit about yourself and I'll read it. Send a picture if you want, that's fine. You can tweet me at Chevee Dodd. And please, while you're there, follow me, because I tweet regularly asking questions about show topics. So I would love for you to interact with me on all those different levels. Send me some stuff tomorrow. I would love to show off, introduce you all, introduce everybody together, because the thread from yesterday, the 15,000 thread, was just this amazing outpouring of support, and like we have this wonderful little thing, this little community. So I'd like to broaden it, introduce yourself, any one of those three ways, and we'll see what we have tomorrow to share. Thank you so much for being here. As always, thank you for your likes and comments and subscribes. I will see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from usflags.com. What year was the current American flag adopted? On June 14, 1777, in order to establish an official flag of the new nation, the Continental Congress passed the First Flag Act. Resolved that the flag of the 13 United States should be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, and the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field representing a new constellation. That is not a valid answer to that question, because the current American flag was definitely not adopted when we only had 13 states. I would love to know when the current 50-star flag was adopted. Somebody tell me.